One of my favorite ones that like sold me on the whole thing was the urban kayaking. I don't know why.
Oh yeah,
that struck
for sure.
That struck a chord with me. Mm-hmm. Oh, you can actually just go be a weirdo,
just go annoy people,
just go be a public nuisance.
Welcome to the iKnowBadeaux podcast.
Hey everybody, and welcome to the iKnowBadeaux podcast. Coming at you from the Slice on Oak Studios. I am Mayor Dave Badeaux of the city of Brainerd. With me, as always, is my brother.
Chewing gum, smoking a cigarette, eating my cheek.
Yep, he is. Gabriel Johnson here with us as well.
Yes.
Councilman, how are you, sir?
I am well, Dave. How are you?
I am excellent. Are you ready to talk about the year 2000?
In the year 2000.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Be Kind Rewind. 2000. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Gabe, I really appreciate it that we got started right away with the year 2000, a classic bit from Conan. Mm-hmm. So I'll just be throwing those in the entire time. Nice. I didn't look to see when he actually started doing that. I know it was after the year 2000, I believe.
It was way before.
Oh, was
like
it before?
1990, yeah.
Oh, because he kept doing it.
Yeah.
He went back to that well after. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Well, that's a good way to talk about the 2000s.
Yeah, that was one of the first bits he and Andy had when he had his late show.
Okay. All right, good. Because I really, really appreciate it. I knew he went back to the well, but I didn't know if he started after 2000, if that was the running joke, or if he had done it before. So, getting started with the year that was 2000, we have the music, the soundtrack of our lives. Gentlemen, should we talk about a little bit of music?
Yes.
I've got a handful here. Throw any out that you would like to as well. However, let's just go right at it right away and just say Marshall Mathers.
I am whatever you say I am.
LP.
By far Eminem's best album.
By far.
If I wasn't, then why would I say I am?
We talked about Slim Shady
Radio won't even play my jam.
in one of the previous episodes. Decent, good introduction to Eminem. However, nowhere near where this goes.
No, this album is the definition of all killer, no filler.
Agreed.
Every song on the album is great.
Yeah.
Even the one that I got on the censored version, because they couldn't have Kim on there because it was just too violent.
Too violent. So Scott said in a previous episode that he had to buy his album at Walmart.
Yes.
Walmart censored the albums in those days, probably still does. I don't know. It seems like a weird thing. How could you have...
That's what Jesus wants.
Well, it seems weird that you would have, with how small the amount of CDs that are being sold is, it seems weird that you would have a separate Walmart censored version, but maybe.
Yeah.
So Scott gets the censored version, totally removes a song from it.
Yep. The entire song is replaced with a song called Drugs Are Bad.
What?
See, children, drugs are bad. And if you don't believe me, ask your dad.
That's freaking awesome.
And even that song was great.
Was it Eminem?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it it was still Eminem. And he was
They didn't just pick a different rapper.
Yeah, they swapped him out for Will Smith.
Jazzy Jeff. Talk about it though. What your take on it? What's your favorite song off the album?
It's really hard to pick a favorite song from that album because they're all awesome.
It's interesting. This is also the exact same time, same year as Chronic 2001 as well. Also a huge, huge hit. We were talking before we got started. There were individuals that we knew in high school that CD never left their vehicle.
Uh-huh.
Every time you were in their vehicle, that's all you listened to the entire time you were ever with them. So when I hear Chronic 2001, there are like specific individuals in my mind, like that is their soundtrack.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
It's an interesting...
Rolling in a green New Yorker.
But also heavy on Eminem as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
a hell of a year for Eminem. And Dre as well, because obviously Dre was involved in the Marshall Mathers stuff.
Yeah, but don't call it a comeback.
No,
He never left.
no, never did. Never did.
Cause I've been in the lab with a pen in the pad trying to get this damn label on.
Any other albums that you got?
Well, I mean, let's just name some songs.
Let's do it. I
From
wanted
this
to.
album.
Yeah.
The Drug Ballad.
Okay.
It is incredible. Criminal.
Yes.
Remember Me. Obviously, the real Slim Shady.
Yes.
The Way I Am. Stan.
Stan is great.
You know,
Yeah.
like, timeless album.
A lot of people are into Stan. Stan was on that list of things that just went slightly to the side for me, where it was like, hey, come on, what are we doing here?
But it's become part of the lexicon.
Yes.
Right? People stand things nowadays, right?
Yes. Agreed. I will agree to that. You know, it is a watershed moment in musical history. However, not on my list of things that I'm.
I never put that together.
You didn't?
No.
Really?
No, I had no idea.
Yeah, that is 100% what Stan is. What did you think
Surprised
it
I didn't
was?
know that. I don't know. I knew what it meant, like just to be a super fan of something, but I just never made the connection there for some reason.
Yeah, that's crazy. I
Surprised I didn't know that.
I'm genuinely surprised you didn't know.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, you should have seen my face. I was like, what? Holy shit. Makes perfect sense.
It's an absolute watershed moment on the podcast now. So Scott, sticking with you real quick, you had said that you do not do enough heroin to enjoy
Yeah.
a band that I greatly enjoy, which is the Deftones, and probably their best album, White Pony, came out in 2000 as well. We won't talk about it much because Scott will probably fall asleep.
I will fall asleep.
We don't need another.
Yes, I'm on team sleep.
Nobody even gets that. You can't make a joke about things that nobody gets, but good joke.
I sure can.
Good joke.
And I do often.
Those are the best jokes.
Yeah, it's only good if only I get it.
I got it. I didn't laugh, but I got it. Also, from this year, do you guys have anything else?
The alternative album of the year,
Okay.
Radiohead.
Which one specifically?
I forget.
No, it's called
Kid A.
It's called Kid
Kid
A.
A. Yeah, there
Yeah,
it is.
yeah. Can I give you a little story about Kid A?
Yeah, I hear you're a fan.
Okay, so I wouldn't necessarily call myself a fan. I enjoy it now. However, when this album came out, we had a teacher, Mr. Waninger, I believe his name was.
DJ Wang?
Yeah, you remember DJ Wang?
Coach Dub.
Yeah, he moonlighted as a DJ at a local watering hole. Went by DJ Wang.
Because he liked.
Well, he did. He did. Yeah, he drove a bug with a daisy on it. I mean, yes. Anyways, Gabe.
Teaching English.
Yeah. So it was an English teacher, and he was obsessed. Like, he bought this album and was obsessed. It's so good. Oh, Dave, you're gonna love this album. So I went and I purchased this album. Now, we have talked on the podcast previously many, many times that I am a person who likes to steal music. I did not steal this music. I purchased this album. One of the very few albums that I've purchased in my life. I brought it home. I started listening to it. I was not having Kid A. It was not hitting all of the right notes for me. So I made the decision to return this album. And instead of just returning it, I took a lighter to it and held the lighter to it until
Jesus Christ, Dave.
until it bubbled a little bit. And then I went back to Target and I said, I don't know what the story is with this CD. It's just got this weird bubble on it. And she said, that's weird. I've never seen anything like that. And I said, I don't know. Can I just go get another one? Yeah, you can go get another one. Then I went back, got a different CD and brought it up and said, oh, you guys are out of that one. I'll just get this one instead.
Man, you were such a little shit.
Yeah.
It's science.
You can't just return it.
Yeah, no, you have to burn it.
I must destroy this and then go get a free CD.
Yeah, if I just return it, they won't believe that I just don't want it. You know?
This album sucks. Since then, though, I actually really enjoy that album. That is maybe my favorite Radiohead album. I do like In Rainbows, which was the one that they released just online. If you
Yeah,
guys remember
that was a pay what you want.
Yeah, pay whatever you want. Yeah. And oddly enough, I think I paid $2 for that.
I paid them like 14 because that's what CDs cost.
Did you? You gave them a full 14?
Why not?
I did not. If I was going to give them the full 14, I'd buy the record.
If you gave them 2, they got off better than most artists.
I didn't burn their disc with a lighter. So, yeah, I thought that was fun.
I've never really listened to Radiohead.
It's different. I mean, you have to be in the vibe for it.
Right.
And to be fair,
And the vibe is depressed.
yeah. Well, there's some real floatiness to it. It's good for putting on, like if you're working on a project on the computer or something, because it is very, very mellow.
Yeah.
In its right place. In its right place.
I will say that angsty Mountain Dew Code Red version of Dave Badeaux was not having Kid A in high school. And
You were more like Tool.
Yeah,
perhaps.
well, Deftones White Pony.
Yeah, sure.
Quite literally, Deftones White Pony. And then you're coming at me with, Kid A, which is great now. I really enjoy it, but at the time, totally not for me. And a little worried about you, DJ Wang, that you thought that was for me. What about me is screaming I should sit quietly in the corner and be depressed?
Depression.
Well, that too. It was the 90s. Well, in this case, the 2000s.
Go back to the 90s.
Do you guys got any other music, or should we move on? Let's sneak right past it. Gabe, it's the news. It's 2000. That means
there was a bombing.
Where?
This year in bombing news.
So the U.S. Navy vessel, the USS Cole,
Okay, yep.
stopped into Yemen for a little refueling.
As is one to do.
And this little upstart group named Al-Qaeda rammed a boat full of TNT into the side of it, killing 37 sailors.
Oh, people did die. I didn't know that people died.
Yeah, people died.
37.
Maybe 17.
I remember this happening. I didn't know that people died, though. I thought it didn't do as much damage as I thought it would do.
It didn't sink the ship, but it was like a 60 by 40 foot
Okay.
hole in the side of a Navy
map,
vessel, and
yeah.
the people on the other side of that wall didn't fare too well.
Yeah, and I also didn't know it was Al-Qaeda.
Yeah.
Well, we'll learn.
I think we'll hear more about them in the future.
We definitely will. Yeah. So that's a weird thing. Like the TNT on the boat that you just drive up and just blow up a massive.
Suicide bombing is a curious
It is
profession.
At the same time, though, like this is a massive.
Profession.
Well, you get rewards.
Yeah, you get, I guess.
I guess it's more like travel miles. Instead of profession.
It's not a long-lived profession.
No. You get a reward though.
Yeah, when you're done with that, you get to go somewhere. Apparently.
Yeah, it's like quite literally, it's like flight miles.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a weird one though to me. Like, we just didn't just shoot that down. Massive naval vessel. I suppose.
Right. I think they signaled for the boat to give us space.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
they were like pretending to be fishermen.
Sure.
Like, oh, we're not going to kill these poor Yemenis fishermen.
Yeah.
Well, they killed us.
Yeah.
And
All
they
right,
found Sudan was responsible. The government of Sudan
Really?
paid these guys. Yeah.
I don't know enough about Sudan. In the list of things you want to talk about, Carmen Sandiego. We're talking about not knowing where things are. I don't think I could find Sudan. Sudan just sounds like we're going to the Sudan right now.
Yeah,
We're going to the desert.
I used to drive one.
All right, save us. Save us. Gabe, move us on, please. Holy shit. I
Okay, in other
apologize.
news, in the 90s, there was this thing. We don't really get much of it anymore. In the 90s, there was this thing where people would get on rafts
Never heard of it.
in Cuba and make their way up north to Florida. 90 miles of water, shark-infested waters.
Oh, yeah.
And one group disembarked,
Yes.
ran into a storm, and everybody died, except for one, Elián González.
Are you serious that everyone else died?
Yep,
So I didn't know that part at all. Everyone else died except for the kid.
6-year-old kid found in an inner tube off the coast of Florida.
Off the coast of Florida, everyone else dead. I mean, that's superhero stuff.
That's profit stuff.
That's movie stuff.
Who the hell is Elián González?
So he's a Cuban refugee.
Yeah.
Ended up here. They brought him in, got him his medical attention.
Yep.
They found distant relatives. Had like a great uncle living in Miami.
Okay.
Sent him there. Problem solved.
Yeah.
Until
Until his dad decided he wanted him back.
Yes, his dad is still in Cuba. Okay.
why didn't the dad die on the raft?
The mom took the kid.
Yes.
Ex-wife took the kid.
And put him on a raft and brought him to America. So this is what's crazy to me is that, because I do remember this part of the story. I didn't remember that he was the only one that survived, but that the dad was in Cuba. The mom basically kidnapped the child, put him on a raft, brought him to America. I didn't know she died in the process. And then I knew that he was with his uncle in Florida, right?
Okay.
Well, then the government gets involved. And our good friend,
Janet Reno.
she likes to burn children. She also says this about Elián González. Elián González. Well, he was a illegal alien. He got to go back.
He's going to Cuba.
This is the CBS Evening News with Russ Mitchell.
And good evening. Rescued at sea on Thanksgiving, Elián González will spend Easter with his father. The latest chapter in the González family drama. The 6-year-old son is with his father tonight under military guard at a U.S. Air Force base near Washington. He was seized before dawn by armed federal agents who burst into the home of his Miami relatives and rushed him to a waiting plane. Within hours, the relatives also flew to Washington, ready to begin a new round in the struggle, but this time it is they who are on the outside, trying to get in.
So the decision is made to go in and snatch this child from his uncle in a little house in a little neighborhood in Miami.
Yeah, full body armor, full assault rifles.
Full tactical armor.
Brought the SWAT team.
There is a great photo of a guy in full SWAT gear holding a weapon to a 6-year-old child who is being held by his uncle or whomever and is very clearly not excited to be having this happen. So we round him up and send him back to Cuba. And then what?
Fast forward.
Okay, how many years?
Till 2023.
Whoa, okay.
All right.
He is elected to their Congress. He's like a ranking member of the Cuban Communist Party now.
Wow.
If I know anything about communism, and I've been told anything about my government about communism bad.
Communism bad for communists. Well, for most communists.
So now, well, for the poor. Let's be clear about that. And I'll take a stance against communism. I know some of you out there probably think you like communism. The first people that go in communism are the poors. So if you think that it's great for everyone, no, it's not. The rich are having a good time. The people in the middle, okay. The poors, see you later, you're gone. You ain't even around. You don't get to be around. We created a communist supervillain.
Withstood the storm, the only one to survive in the inner tube.
The only one to survive.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then we point a gun at him.
Then we attack him, we
and
raid his house,
steal him.
ship him back to Cuba, and he's going to set his people free.
And we've created a communist supervillain.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
It was just a bastard in a basket.
Unbelievable. I did not know he was the only one that survived. That's crazy. I can't even believe that at all.
I can't believe they found his family. He's just a 6-year-old kid in an inner tube.
Yeah, that is weird. I mean, now they would just prick you and find your DNA, but yeah, how do you do it then? Just run around with a picture of him? Have you seen this? Do anyone know this boy?
Yeah, little Havana. I got a 6-year-old.
Yeah. Oh, no, that's my nephew.
Come on over.
Okay, here you go.
Come on over. Yeah, I mean, there are parts of it that when you think of like that, it's like, yeah, I get that, maybe you send the kid back. But if these people are adamant, this child will stay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was an international incident. Fidel Castro was involved. Janet Reno obviously kidnapped him.
Yeah, Janet Reno, real bad at reading the room. When it comes to kids.
This was only like a 70% Janet, though. She didn't go the full 100.
Well, no. She just, I don't know. At least with the other one, she did what supervillains do, which is kill the lineage.
Yeah.
Waco, she was like, we don't want any of these kids growing up to be communists, supervillains.
That's true. She had unfinished business here.
In this case, she let him go. That's crazy to me. That's unbelievable. And actually, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of enjoy that story a little bit.
Yeah, good job, Elián.
Yeah, well, good for him. I hope that he's he has positive things to do. But I don't know. I've seen a lot of stories, And typically, the kid in the basket that gets a gun pointed at them, it doesn't end well for the people pointing the gun.
Nope.
Typically. I could be wrong.
He's the one.
All right, let's move on from that. I think that's good for news. I think that's actually let's keep an eye on that. I don't think there's much to keep an eye on now.
Well, somebody's got to take over Cuba sometime.
Yeah.
He's only 30.
Wouldn't that be a kick in the fucking dick?
I should have kept that kid.
Could be running Miami right now. All right, let's move on. TV. You guys want to talk TV?
Yes.
Okay, so 2000 is an interesting time for TV. I will actually say that typically, we've talked about this, where in the world, in the time frame, my philosophy is that your 1998 to 2002 is probably the same time frame, as opposed to like 99 hard stop, 2000 hard start. But for TV, I think it is an interesting situation because there are two that we're going to talk about within this that I think totally changed the entire framework of television. But before we get to those, let's go real quick. Last episode in the Be Kind Rewind 1999, we said that Malcolm in the Middle had started. I don't know why we thought that, but it did not happen. That was not the case, unless there was some kind of weird scenario.
Maybe like a pilot or something.
But I don't think so. From what I saw, Malcolm in the Middle started in 2000, and so I went back and actually watched it. I was watching the episode where we talked about it, and we all kind of said, like, the mom kind of sucked and whatever. But I thought, I'm going to actually go back and watch some of it. Pretty good. I pounded through half a season, just kind of kept letting it play. Like, it felt very reminiscent of how it used to be, because this was a rerun show that was just on every afternoon
Yeah, for sure.
and just on forever. But I went back and I watched it, and a couple things to note of that show. One, and I got an interesting take on this. From my new experience of watching it, I would say that Malcolm in the Middle is the equivalent of the 2000 version of like The Munsters or Addams Family. It's very much the family down the street in the dilapidated house that everyone is trying to save the kids from. It's very much this, and I had never thought that until there was one specific episode in which they like show the yard, and the yard is meant to be well unkempt.
Yeah.
This is the alternative family, right? But then everyone is always trying to save Malcolm from this family. The entire show is about his teachers. Everyone else is trying to save him from this family. It is very much, they are the Munsters.
Interesting.
Yeah, it is a 2000 take on it, I would say. The other thing I would note is that Dewey, the actor that played Dewey,
serial killer.
No, just decided
Serial
to go
rapist.
Oddly, no, as a child actor. No, he decided to just discontinue acting, and now is just living as a normal dude. And
Good.
Yeah, well, I found a
Smart
clip.
dude, yeah.
I found a clip that was from. It was a documentary style thing that I think was about the first season, may have been a couple seasons in, but they are talking to him as a kid, as an actor, and he said, I might continue acting. I might want to try being behind the camera or something like that, but I don't know. And it was just the way he said it was like, oh yeah, this kid is not going to be an actor. He's like, it was really interesting to like watch a little kid like that process what's going on.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, this is all right.
Yeah.
Give a wise answer.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't want to do this.
Maybe I don't want to do this, and then not do it. I thought that was pretty interesting.
I'm not sure if I want to be an actor when I grow up. It sounds fun. It is fun. But there's also other things that sound fun.
There's talks about them doing a reboot, and from what I hear, he doesn't have any interest in it. So, could be
Good. He was a terrible actor, anyways.
Well, he was a kid. He was a tiny little fucking kid. And actually, him talking, he wasn't acting. That was like, you watch this kid talk just normally, and it's like, that's literally who this kid is. A little off, little off center, a little askew. But yeah. Other show that started, Curb Your Enthusiasm. Let's talk super fast about it. We have talked about Curb in the past, but let's talk about it actually starting, debuting HBO 2000.
Yeah, interesting title.
Yes.
and chosen in part to temper our expectations after Seinfeld.
Okay.
And he's like, here's my next project, but Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Okay.
It's not going to be that good.
Yeah. Yeah. I like it. You're a fan, obviously.
Yeah, big fan.
Fan, Scott?
Never seen it.
You've never seen Curb Your Enthusiasm.
I have seen maybe like 4 clips. I've seen the one where he is talking with Michael J. Fox,
Okay.
and who accidentally shakes up a pop because he's got Parkinson's.
Christ. That's hilarious.
And I've seen that, and then something about a coffee shop or a donut shop or something.
Yeah, out of spite. Gabe and I both love this show. I would say the reason I love it, and I'm pretty sure it's the reason you love it as well, because these are the things that I want to do in my life, always. I want to react like he reacts to everything that happens. And I was reading up on it a little bit, and somebody had described it as it is just viewing of social norms, and he is constantly not knowing how to honor the social contract.
And that's where I identify with it, because I have that. I actually have that problem in life where I don't get some norms, and then even if I understand that is a norm, I don't understand why.
Yeah.
Why?
And then I'll refuse to participate because I don't get why.
Yeah, why are we doing this? Why? Yeah, it's very, very interesting. The reason I wanted to bring it up, even though we've talked about it recently, it is now 2024. I think this is what, the 12th season. So basically,
Curb Your Enthusiasm. I'm going to take my sweet ass time.
yes. However, the last episode, I believe, is airing this week. So yeah, so after 24 years, the final episode is going to be airing. So it's a great show. I really enjoy it. We've talked about how our wives don't like it because it's just people bitching at each other.
Everybody's just yelling at each other the whole time.
That's why I love it. He's saying all the things I want to say. Yes, this is stupid. Why are we doing this?
What a bunch of crap!
Adult Swim does not start this year.
Nope.
However,
No, so Adult Swim starts in 2001.
Yes.
But a lot of Adult Swim shows debuted in 2000, like Aqua Teen Hunger Force and Inuyasha, Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law. Which Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law is absolutely hilarious.
it's very funny.
It's just old Hanna-Barbera cartoons. Well, that's what a lot of Adult Swim was.
Yeah.
At first, was
Well,
just
a lot
old,
of the-
old Hanna-Barbera just repurposed into a different thing. So Birdman is an attorney, and he has to be a lawyer for like Fred Flintstone, like that.
So what was it called? It's something Street. The hell's the name of the
William
brand?
Street.
William Street did it. Yeah. So that's a production company from a lot of these, and I love it. So C-Lab 2021.
Yeah, C-Lab 2021, Space Ghost Coast to Coast, which started years prior to this,
But the idea of taking these old characters that have just been cast aside, and then taking the animations and making something new of it. C-Lab 2021 is something that I really enjoy because it, as a person that wanted to do animation, I could see how to do that, right? Like you were taking some of the shots they were taking was just from old episodes, and then other things they would just crudely animate things. Same thing with Aqua Teen Hunger Force, which I also really enjoy. I've tried going back and watching some of that, and I do still think it's funny, but it is definitely you got to be a college or high school mindset for that.
Sure.
I think a lot of it, but I did really, really enjoy that show. But it's the same thing; it's just crudely animated.
Right.
A lot of the time, there's things in the background that are overly granulated, pixelated because they just did, like the image they had, they just blew it up so big. But yeah, it's crazy. That again is kind of a start of something new, right? These old animations and stuff that you had, and then recycling them into the new 2000 era. It's again, this to me felt very much like it is the start of something new, and it has continued on. Like this style of show has went on. I mean, even Archer is born out of this.
Well, yeah, Archer is made by Adam Reed,
Yes.
who made C-Lab 2021.
Yes.
And then went on to make a show called Frisky Dingo, which is one of my favorite shows.
One of your favorites as well, yeah. So it's born out of this initial weird group of guys that were just making some cool animations. So then the other one I want to talk about real fast, there are 2 shows that I said completely changed the landscape. Number 1, Survivor.
Okay.
Are you guys Survivor guys?
Nope.
Never watched a season in real time.
Okay.
But a few years ago, I watched a couple seasons. And it was enjoyable.
Okay. Like went back and watched previous seasons?
Went back and watched like the last 2 seasons or whatever, like season 17, 18, something like that. But yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, I got into a little kick in somewhere like the 3rd or 4th season, maybe like the 3rd season. I got into a little kick where I was watching some of it. I remember at the time watching some of it, and it was interesting because this is the first time that mainstream people were introduced to this concept. Like we had been
it wasn't just MTV.
That's just
stuff.
it.
Yeah.
We had been watching Road Rules and
Real World.
And so we were very used to this format. I loved Road Rules, by the way. It was a fun show. I don't know why I liked it. I just liked it. But this was the first time that like mainstream public was introduced to this concept, and it took over the world.
Everybody became obsessed.
Blew up.
Yeah. I remember specifically we had for some reason this episode is all about teachers. I had a teacher that was our psych teacher. I took AP Psych, and his name was Mr. Lasham, and he was obsessed with this show. Almost weirdly, but he liked the psychology side of things. And so he was constantly talking about this show in class about how, so-and-so is doing this and so-and-so is doing this. And my response was just, isn't that the naked dude? Isn't that just the dude walking around with his wang out? Like, what's the psychology behind that, Mr. Lasham?
There was a naked guy?
Yeah.
The guy who won, a middle-aged dude who just decided to be naked the whole time.
The entire time?
The entire time.
Everybody else had clothes?
Everyone else. Yeah, they were like scantily clothed to make it look like they were stranded.
Surviving.
Okay. Yeah. But a cool concept. And what I like about it is you get the gamesmanship of it.
What is the premise of the show even?
The game, you got to play the game. That's one thing I found odd. I knew Survivor, but when you don't really ever watch it, and then you come into season 18, and they're always, the game, you got to play the game. And as a new viewer, since I kind of knew culturally what it wasn't that confusing, but it's a little odd coming in at the tail end.
Yeah. So
talking about this nebulous idea.
I'd never thought about that. Let's talk about what Survivor actually is. After for 24 years of this, a bunch of people get stranded on an island.
Yes.
But then they vote themselves off. So it isn't the public decides type of thing. It is you amongst yourselves are voting each other off, which is interesting.
So you either vote for the weakest link who's not pulling their weight, or the person who can beat you in the end.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's a lot of, like, hey, this guy's actually going to beat me, so I'm going to do a bunch of backstabbing and catty bullshit to get people to vote him off. But then there's immunity challenges and all that. There's a board game element to it. Like, oh, we're now grouping over here, and then every once in a while you got to shuffle everything around. It's interesting. It doesn't hold my attention too much because, again, we had already kind of watched all that stuff, and then this was just like another version of it with
out frat boys.
Yeah, and then but they had also really leaned into and perfected, I would say, the cliffhanger aspects of it. So like everything is just a cliffhanger all the time.
Yeah.
You're constantly waiting for the cliff to be hung from. I don't know. It gets annoying after a while.
Yeah. Isn't it just people bickering and
the
arguing?
Yes. Yeah, well, it's just Curb Your
Your
Enthusiasm.
enthusiasm.
Yeah. Not enough yelling.
Yeah. Not enough naked guys now. Because I think at some point they made a rule that you have to wear clothes.
That all middle-aged men must stay clothed around the teenage
Titties are okay if you're of age. The other show that absolutely blew the world up, Jackass.
Oh, yeah.
Warning, the following show features stunts performed either by professionals or under the supervision of professionals. Accordingly, MTV and the producers must insist that no one attempt to recreate or reenact any stunt or activity performed on this show.
Hi, I'm Johnny Knoxville. Welcome to Jackass.
Yes. Fantastic show. Scott, guess how many seasons of Jackass there were?
3.
That's a pretty good guess. There were 3 seasons of Jackass.
Yeah,
I would have guessed like 10.
Yeah, I would have said 8. I would have said 8. That would have been my number, I thought.
But yeah, it was 3 seasons. It was 18 months, and it just exploded.
Yeah.
Changed the whole entertainment landscape.
Yeah, that was.
and then they just went on to make the movies.
Yes.
Didn't need to make the seasons anymore. You just make one big movie of everything.
Yeah.
Probably make way more money.
It's really crazy that. So the way that exploded, how fast it went, and then just became this mammoth thing that completely reinvented television, because then it turned into all sorts of shows of that nature, right? The Nitro Circuses of the world,
sure,
and all those lesser ones below that,
like Punked.
Yeah, Punked is pretty much right up there. Yeah. But I did go back and I watched every single episode from the year 2000. So it started in like October. It went through 8 episodes. And then by the time that was done, they had already filmed and had the second season. The second season started in December of 2000. Huh. So it wasn't even like, we're going to wait a year for this. They just went hard, reshot the next season, and then moved forward. The thing I thought was really crazy about going back and watching them. So should we tell the story real quick about it?
Background.
Okay, background of it. A lot of people from that time frame would know there was Big Brother magazine, which is like a skateboarding magazine, and then there was CKY.
Yeah.
2 totally different things happening on 2 totally different sides of the country. CKY was Bam Margera and his brother's band.
Club Kill Yourself.
Yep.
Is it club? I thought it was camp.
Camp. It is
camp. Sorry.
Camp Kill Yourself. His brother's band, they were making these videos that included skateboarding, but also were just crazy, and then music videos as well. And then on the West Coast, with Big Brother magazine, they were making all this skateboarding content that started kind of get into those things. Johnny Knoxville comes up with the idea. He wants to write an article about self-defense items.
He wanted to like shoot himself with a bulletproof vest.
Yep.
Like our sex and violence.
Yes.
Yep. So he goes around to various different places and everybody tells him, no, absolutely not. Big Brother magazine says, yes. However, you're going to film it because we want it to be a part of this series. So that's how the whole thing started. He wants to do an article. They say you need to film it. And those.
He wants to do an article. He was a writer?
A
journalist?
I would say yes. I would say, technically, he is a published journalist.
I had no idea about that.
Yeah. So I believe it is in the first episode, those segments are in there. So I don't think he shoots himself in that one. The first ones are the taser. So the first one is the actual like handheld taser. Then there's the
pepper spray.
Pepper spray is the first one. And then there's the actual like taser with the barbs that come out. So those are the first 3 that he did. He does end up shooting himself in another one. But those get into the first episode, and it was just kind of this combining of different things. So a lot of the early episodes are these things that were already out there that were just shuffled and repackaged. So much so that if you watch the first 4 episodes, maybe more, they reuse the same segments. They're just kind of shuffled. So it's not, there'll be like 3 new ones and 2 old ones.
Okay.
With maybe a little bit of different footage from them, reshuffle a little bit for the timing purposes. But it's interesting that having gone back and watched that, it's like that first season, there is not that much content that comes through there, and it's all old.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it blew up, and then immediately they were like, we need more of this now. And once that second season hit, which I don't think many people even knew that it had stopped.
Yeah.
Right.
Because it was like a month between the end and the beginning. It just took over the world.
Yeah.
Absolutely took over the world. And
to this day, they still blockbuster hit just last year with their new movie.
Yes. Yeah. And it's gigantic. I love it. From episode 1, poop is involved. From the word. I believe, if I remember correctly, he goes in a porta potty and they flip it upside down and then flip it back. So the first handful of episodes is just Johnny Knoxville getting covered in poop and then chasing people around while covered in poop. If you want to know what the first episode of Jackass is, that's basically what it is.
Poop again!
But yeah, were you guys aware of like any of that stuff before Jackass happened, or?
Not at all.
Well, you were pretty young.
I was.
So I was aware of CKY and some of the Big Brother stuff. I had seen bits of it, like some of our buddies had some tapes. But I wasn't familiar that that's like what happened. I was just like, wait a minute, that's these guys,
Yeah, I didn't know CKY at all. My skateboarding buddies all had Big Brother magazines and stuff like that, so I recognized some of that crossover.
It's crazy. So what's your favorite early Jackass stunt?
I don't remember what.
I liked one where they covered
early.
Johnny Knoxville and chased people around.
That's all of them. That's every single one. I actually was one of my favorite ones that like sold me on the whole thing was the urban kayaking. I don't know why.
Oh yeah,
that struck
for sure.
That struck a chord with me where I was just like, oh, that's just fun.
Mm-hmm.
You can just go fuck around because it was a lot of it was like getting hurt. Or like doing something gross. I was like, oh, you can actually just go be a weirdo.
Just go annoy people.
Just go be a public nuisance.
That and Daddy Baby's Day Out or whatever it was.
Oh, yeah.
So the first one, he's on a bike. And he keeps crashing this bike, which it's got to hurt. It's got to hurt so bad.
Yeah.
What do you think of urban kayaking? That's great. It looks like a rush.
All right. We'll wrap that up. Anything else for television at all?
I mean, the world was introduced to Jessica Alba. in Dark Angel.
Dark Angel, God.
What a babe.
Oh.
What a babe.
Well, we're running out of time here. I do want to talk about the PS2. I don't think we really have enough time because we do have to go get our kids. I hate to keep saying that. We always say that every single week.
Just talk about SSX.
Can we talk about PS2 real quick?
Yeah.
So PS2 was the first system that I went and stood in line for. And I did that for the PS2, I did that for the GameCube, and I did that for the Wii. And it's a cool experience. You spend a lot of time talking to nerds. Spoiler alert, I'm a huge fucking nerd. But I enjoyed it. The thing about the PS2 that also took over the world, and again, 2000, you talk about changing things moving forward. The PS2 was a watershed moment in video gaming in that it went from, hey, this is something that a lot of us like to do, to like now this has become very much mainstream.
Yeah.
It is now, this was the first mainstream big time video game console. And I really liked it. I spent time waiting in line for it. The game that I got that I loved more than anything the first day was SSX. I remember standing in line. I remember everyone talking about what games they were going to get, and everyone thought I was nuts. But I was like, this is the one I want. That's the game. I'm telling you, that's the game. I was a huge nerd, so I had read all the magazines.
That was the game, though.
Yeah, I had all the information. And it does, one of the cool things that it does is that what the PS2 is really good at is bright colors and trails.
Sure.
Right? So like the lighting in that.
And that's like 90% SSX.
That's what SX is. And they nailed it. There's actually a game on the PS2 that was called like Fantavision, which is bizarre. And I pulled up some footage for it. It is bizarre. But it's basically fireworks. You're just shooting off. It was the dumbest game ever in terms of something that I saw, picked up for 2 seconds, set it right back down. But that's how much they were leaning into these like lights on this system. And SSX, that's all it was just a really cool snowboarding game that leaned away from the 1080 snowboarding.
The technical,
the realism.
Yeah. Yeah, the realism of cool borders and 1080. But I loved it. That game was freaking sweet.
EA Sports. Big.
If you had to talk about a launch game or a game from the beginning of the PS2, what would it be?
Was Madden 2001 a launch game?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Let's talk about it. What do you got?
It was, the next gen Madden game, like fully 3D. I mean, the 64 had it, and the original PlayStation, but this is one, like you said, full bright colors, smooth graphics.
Yep.
And a kick-ass opening song by Exhibit.
Exhibit and EA got just in bed with one another in a very Diddy type of way.
Okay. No, I played the hell out of that game.
Yeah, and the crazy thing about that was super realistic. The first time that something came on the TV and people were like, oh, wow, now you look at it and that seems really, silly. But at the time, people were like, holy crap.
That looks realistic.
Yeah, the reflections off the helmets, people couldn't get enough of that. Like, how is this happening? Until you looked at the people's eyes and they had that dead eye syndrome. Yeah. Oh man, creepy.
Nowadays, game graphics are so good that like I'm watching a Twins game or something, and they do the aerial camera over. Mm-hmm. My sons will be like, "Wow, that looks like the show."
Yeah, it's crazy. If I had to go, so my big thing when I purchased the PS2, it seemed like because there were 29 games that came out at the launch, which is crazy.
Yeah,
not in Japan, but by the time it came to the US, there were 29 games, and it seemed like there were 2 of everything, and I was like just left on every single one. So like there was Unreal Tournament, which was a very well known game, and then there was Time Splitters. I wanted Time Splitters. Mm-hmm. Then there was what was the other one? There was Tekken Tag Tournament. Everybody wanted Tekken Tag Tournament. Mm-hmm. I wanted Dead or Alive.
Okay.
Cause boobs.
Because the introduction of jiggle physics.
It's just boobs.
In Dead or Alive, you used to be able to adjust the settings for your game, and one of the settings you could change was the age of your character. Yes. So if you put them up to like 99, they're just jiggly as all hell.
It's a real thing. That is a real thing. That if you want to talk the year 2000,
look what we can do with these boobs.
We have a new system. People, let me show you. I got a tech demo for you. And then, of course, they put them in maids' outfits and made them kick each other. But I liked it. Yeah. Mostly because of the boobs, but also because they had a ninja. It was made by Team Ninja.
Yes, they made Ninja Gaiden.
We're going strong. But the game I want to talk about, I did not get at launch, but there's a little game called Dynasty Warriors 2. For Christmas of the year 2000, I asked for the game Dynasty Warriors 2. Going back and looking at that game now, it looks silly. Like there's no reason to actually play this game because things have progressed to a point where nothing that it did is even worth doing now because we've just progressed so much. But at the time, you're a guy from ancient China, multiple different guys. You can select your guy. And then there's just an army of people, and all you do is just go through and just smash the button and just hit them.
I played that. Yeah. Fun.
Ton of fun.
Oh, yeah.
So much fun. I looked at that and I was like, that's perfect. I don't want to have to do things.
Okay, don't give me a side quest.
No.
Kill people.
I just want to go from point A to point B and kill all these dudes along the way. You'd kill the general, and then their supporting group would run away.
Yeah.
So I asked for this game for Christmas. I then did a very Dave Badeaux thing, and I very precisely opened the package and slid the game out and took the game out and put the thing back in, rewrapped it, and put it under the tree. And then I proceeded to play this game for a solid 3 weeks before Christmas. And then just before Christmas, I opened the package back up and I put it back in and I sealed it back up. And I put it back under the tree. And Christmas Day came. And I was so excited. Oh my God, look what I got. And I went down and I put the game in and I was on the very last level. I was unaware that I was on the very last level. And the game was over in 20 minutes. Game over. Beat the game. So I played through the entire game prior to Christmas. And then once I actually got to open it, so it was the most worthless Christmas present ever.
It was a relatively deep game. There's a lot of different characters you could play as, and there's RPG elements.
Yeah.
You level up your guy and get stronger and better weapons and all that.
Yeah, and they still make these games. And now they just brand them with different things. So now Nintendo has a bunch of
your Hyrule Warriors and other such games like that.
Other such games. I think they have a Pokemon one. There's a bunch of different versions. Maybe they don't have a Pokemon one, do they?
I don't think they have a Pokemon one. I think they have a Fire Emblem one.
Fire Emblem's the one I'm thinking of. Yep. Yeah.
So they're just called Warriors games.
Yeah. But at the time, it was, to me, I was like, this is cool. This is something you could not do prior to this.
No, super fun. And first experience with voice acting in a video game.
Yeah, let's talk about that real quick.
Worst ever?
Potentially. There's been some bad.
Dynasty Warriors 2 has the worst voice acting in any game of all time.
Well, let's play a clip.
You flaming idiots! Take this!
Yeah.
And the whole game's like that.
Yeah.
Every character that talks is I don't even. Where do you even find these people?
Yeah. It's unbelievable. It's crazy to me that because that's another thing from the year 2000 that they had just now had enough space on the disc to start doing voice acting,
right?
Like at a regular level, because now we're on to DVDs, and unbelievable. Yeah, that then because then you're gonna move into like your Final Fantasy X.
That's
all that.
What I was gonna say next too is even really big budget SquareSoft Final Fantasy X game, the voice acting is not great.
No, not fantastic. All right, so let's wrap up PS2 super fast. Just a couple other games that came out. You had The Sims.
Yeah.
Another complete game changer.
Yep.
Total game changer. That was if you knew a lady, she was playing Sims. If you knew a guy, he was playing Sims. Everybody was playing The Sims.
Yep.
Very good game for the nerds in the group. Final Fantasy IX.
Arguably the best game of all time.
Shocked to hear that review.
That'll be the last time I say that about a Final Fantasy game.
You will not say that about 10?
I will not.
A return to the classic aesthetic.
The crystal's back.
The crystal's back.
Gosh, nerds.
We were nerds and we were excited. Majora's Mask, which is a follow-up to Ocarina of Time for Zelda fans out there. And then Command & Conquer Red Alert.
Okay.
Which we won't talk about it here, but in years in the future, we're going to look forward. Command & Conquer is going to come back up.
Yes.
But if you were a fan of like RTS games and World of Warcraft, or not World of Warcraft, but Warcraft.
StarCraft.
Yeah, Command & Conquer was a cool game. So interesting, with the video games. Last thoughts on the year as a general, or the year in general.
In the year 2000.
In the year 2000. Forgot all about that.
I didn't do it once.
That was a very Gabe Johnson thing of me to do. I'm going to bring this up, and then I'm never going to talk about it. Well, that brings us to the end of the Be Kind Rewind portion of this episode. But we need to do the name of the year. But I think we're going to do that after the break. So we're going to end this episode. For those of you that are actual fans of the iKnowBadeaux podcast, you know that we have a post-credit scene at the end of every single one of our episodes, and we're going to hide name of the year after the post-credits.
Yeah, just stick around for like 10 seconds.
All right, so thank you to the Boutros.
Yes.
Thank you to Gabriel Johnson.
Thank you, Dave.
And thank you to you, the listeners. We are on to movies next episode, so if you are interested in shooting something over, do so right away. Get that over to us and let us know what movies from the year 2000 you're interested in. I'm really excited for that. And then in 2 weeks' time, it's been penciled in. Keith Larson is back again. And we are going to do...
Still only penciling it in.
Oh, no. We are not dumb. We got him here once. That could last a decade. I don't know. But we are going to do a movie draft, and it is going to be baseball movies. So our favorite baseball-themed movies, and we'll do a full draft of that, and then we'll be back with the news after that as well. So stick around for that. 2000 movies next episode. Baseball movies, shoot those over to us as well. And then following that, we'll be back with the news. But until then, we're done. Okay, I wanted to do this behind the drop because I was just on the internet and somebody posted something about a post-credit thing, and it was a April Fool's thing. But they were like, yeah, the such and such show has the greatest after the credit thing. And I started to type, I fucking hate post-credit things. And then I remembered we do that every single episode. Mm-hmm. Every episode we have a post-credit scene.
Now we put the most important part of the show behind the credits.
Mainly because I wanted to do this. Because we just went to the movie Dune, Dune 2, which I enjoyed. I got a long take on that, but we won't talk about it right now. But people just sat there. And I don't even know if there is a post-credit scene. I don't think there is. People sat there. They wouldn't. They refused to get up now. I don't understand it. I don't get that philosophy at all. Like, this is sit through, half of our song and then come back, right? Yeah. The post-credit stuff, you sit there for like half hour now.
Oh yeah, and especially in a movie that has a lot of CG.
Yes.
They have 700 artists they have to credit.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thanks for sticking around, folks. Should we do this?
Let's do this.
It's Name of the Year.
Oh, all right. We're out of here.
All right, this is Name of the Year. It is the conclusion of Name of the Year. It is the announcement of the winner of the 2024 Name of the Year. A lot of combatants, a lot of great names. We had everything. We had from a Dick Coffee to a million bugs.
Dick Coffee wasn't on the board at all.
Well, Dick Coffee was on the board, and then he wasn't on the board. We had, let's list some of them off here. What else did we have? Because I'm drawing a complete blank.
Dr. Marijuana, Pepsi Van Dyke, Inspector Gadget, whatever.
Pilot Inspector Lee.
Judge Fag.
Judge Russ Fag.
Yes.
Yeah. But this has come down to the end of it. Ladies and gentlemen, this is who you have selected.
Yes.
As our listeners. I will throw it out to YouTube. YouTube came out in spades. They had almost 100 votes on our YouTube channel for who they wanted. I think in total we were over 300, almost 320 votes on this one, which is solid.
Hey, we're going places.
Yeah. Listen, people actually. You have to click through a thing and then click another thing and then click a third thing.
Okay.
You get 300 people to do that.
Yeah.
You're big time. Big time. All right, Scott Badeaux, without further ado, who is...
Without further ado.
The winner of the 2024 Name of the Year.
So we had...
Yes.
Jizz Hornkamp.
Yep.
Versus... A Million Bugs.
A Million Bugs.
With 178 votes, 56.3%, your winner is Jizz Hornkamp.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have, and don't get me wrong.
The people have spoken.
The people have spoken. And jizz, it is.
Jizz all over a million bucks.
There it is, ladies and gentlemen. Jizz Hornkamp is your 2024 Name of the Year. We've already had 3 selections sent to us for names for next year.
Okay.
So keep that up.
What are those 3?
I don't have them in front of me, but I remember laughing at them. So that's always a solid. Yeah. Okay. I remember as soon as I got them, I was like, yep, that's going on there. One was something about a wiener. So that's it. We are at the end of the 2024. Keep sending those over to us, and that'll be a lot of fun.
Feel the power of my magic!